Have you ever dreamed of sailing but had no idea where to start? Well, same here. But unlike you, perhaps I decided to take the leap and sign myself up to a level 1 start sailing course. And it was...
Hello mate, what just happened?
I capsized.
Yeah, you did?
In the water.
a ride. Capsizing is definitely a possibility if you're not super careful. Today I want to share what the course was like, what I learned, and some clips of me actually sailing for the first time ever. So if you ever thought about picking up sailing, stick around. This could be the push you need to actually get started. Welcome back to Frankie's Workers. My name is MTU and I am qualified by the RYA for level 1 start sailing. Just a quick overview on what the RYA is. It's the Royal Yachting Association, and they're the governing body for all things yachts, sailing, sail racing, dinghies, all of that sort of thing. What they essentially do is give you qualifications to prove your competency. So if you decide to rent a boat from a training center, the RYA qualifications will help you do that. This looks like the right place. I'll walk in now. There's the water. And so our sailing journey begins, and our first hurdle. What are the parts of the boat called? The boat that we used to learn on was the RSS. And here's a quick diagram of the boat parts. So the front is the bow, the back is the stern, the bottom is the hull, the back control surface is the rudder, there's the tiller, mast, and the mainsail, and some extra bits specific to this boat. So let's talk about the sail. The sail has the top part, which is the mast, and the bottom, which is the boom. And then the sail surface itself has a few specific names for its different parts here. You can see the head is at the top, the foot is at the bottom, kind of intuitive. Some other extra nautical terms. Now that we know what's what, we are taking the boat around and...
So walking the boat around.
Here we're assembling our boat up with the mast, and our instructor is going over just how to do that. And here's me doing my best Robert De Niro impression as I'm confused about finally being on the boat. Here I'm on the boat and we're being towed across to a safe part of the shore. And this is my first day, but eventually I get the hang of it. Just about. It's surreal looking back at the footage and seeing how quickly I was able to pick it up. Random gust. Trying to keep the course. I really look like I know what I'm doing. And then it's not always rainbows and sunshine.
Hello mate, what just happened?
I capsized.
Yeah, you did?
In the water, went for a swim in.
But you did a good one.
Thank you.
So I thought I'd get you a little video
Yeah,
so you
thanks.
can remember.
All good fun. I've got some graphics here to help illustrate the theory. So here we're looking at the boat and the rudder. And if we turn the rudder anti-clockwise towards the right, the boat will shift anti-clockwise and then start heading towards the left. So if we do the inverse and go clockwise, the boat also shifts clockwise and heads to the right. The next bit of theory is on points of sail. So if you look at the wind direction coming in from the top, these are all the different names for the different directions that the boat goes in. A little bit of interactivity now. This is into irons from the previous diagram. Can you tell me what this position is? From the diagram on the right, it's beam reach. This is probably the most ideal position to be in for cruising. And I'm just talking very high level of the theory that we were taught. There's a lot that goes into how to plan sailing before you even set out. The safety signals that you need to learn to be able to communicate with those around you, to be able to convey the right messages, because you can't just shout from across the water. And of course we learned how to tie some knots as well. Quite important to be able to know how to do that. Day 2 of being ferried across, there was a RC boat race happening as well, so we had to go a bit further out And here I am setting up to sail again, unfurling the sails, setting up the boom. All of this just from 2 days of training. Very cool to be let out and practically learning how to do everything. So this is me setting out again. Great conditions, great time of day, and you can see I'm getting the hang of it. You can see me struggling with the ropes, or sheets as the sailors call them. I'm trying to have a good grip on the tiller in my left hand and the main sheet with my right hand to keep the sail taut, and I'm trying to feel against the wind, and you can see that it's changing. That's because the wind direction is going to change, but this is you feeling it out, trying to get that beam reach to be able to cruise at a certain speed. I'm aiming for that buoy on the right. But how do we turn? It's more theory time. Again, using the points of sail diagram and a quick illustration of the harbour that we were at, assuming that the wind direction is constant and consistently coming from the north, we are going to talk about tack, which is a turn against the wind. And as you tack, you shout lee ho, which is just an old nautical thing, which just means I'm changing direction. The diagrams and animation is a bit crude, but I'm trying to be authentic against the points of sail diagram from before, and it shows you which points of sail you're meant to use as you turn around. So the sail moves against the direction of the wind, and you tack and you say lee ho again. So we're trying to get used to this sort of figure eight route. And in practice, it's not always that easy, as you will see. Okay, let's see how much speed we can get. So I need to go around the buoy. Lee-ho! I'm aiming for the buoy and I miss, so I turn a bit too early. Now there's another turn called a jibe. If you look at the points of sail again, just to remind ourselves, and if there's 3 buoys, you can see us turning into the direction of the wind, whereas a tack is against the direction of the wind. It can get quite quick, but as it's a change of direction, you must make the statement, lee-ho? No, it's jibe-ho, but it still just means you're changing direction. And here, the boom rapidly switches from one side to another, so if you're not careful, it can be quite dangerous. Taking a swim early, are we?
Yeah. Cool off.
Lee-ho! And now here's just some casual cruising experience based on the couple of exercises that we were given, carrying out some tacks and some jibes. Lee-ho! Sorry, the audio is quite fuzzy here because of the wind. Lee-ho! But I'm really getting into it. It feels quite natural. As I'm getting more experience here, I'm messing with the sheet as I haven't kept it neat. But I feel like I'm getting a better understanding of the control surfaces, the feel of the wind, the responses I get from the sheet and the tiller and the rudder. Here I think I'm into irons where I'm going in the direction of the wind and I can't get a good feel for it. So what I'm doing is pushing the boom in one direction and the rudder in another. And this is a good way to get the boat to turn. Takes a bit of time, and eventually you get a feel for the wind. And I'm away, gaining speed. So that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. The goal of this channel is to build a real life working replica of the Going Merry from One Piece. And I previously had no sailing experience, but I'm working on that, as you can see. Now, one of the many things to learn is how to sail competently and understand all the elements of a boat and sailing principles. This is just one learning block for me. I still need to learn about boat design, woodworking, and probably hundreds of other things before I can build my boat. If this sounds interesting, please like and subscribe and stick around to watch more Going Merry One Piece related content. My next video is going to be about the history of sailing, or at least a brief history of sailing. So if that sounds interesting, watch this space.